It all began on a sunny afternoon in Pasadena, California. Michael Turner, a retired firefighter with a gentle smile and a fixer-upper dream, had just bought a small but charming 1920s house. The place had history, cracked walls, sagging floors, and a roof that moaned whenever it rained. But Michael loved it. It reminded him of rebuilding lives after fires, one beam at a time. One weekend, while attending a community barbecue, he met Carla Mendez. She was lively, chatty, and claimed to be a licensed home improvement contractor. She had bright eyes and the kind of confidence that made anyone believe she could rebuild the entire house with a hammer and a smile. Michael mentioned he needed help. Carla's ears perked up immediately. "Oh, I can handle everything, roofing, plumbing, electric. My crew's the best," she said, tapping her phone. "I'll even get you a discount because you're a firefighter." Something about her enthusiasm seemed genuine. Michael had met shady contractors before, but Carla seemed different, like a neighbor trying to help. Within a week, they met again, walked through the property, and she scribbled down numbers on a yellow pad. $25,000 should cover the major fixes, she said confidently. "I'll start with the roof and bring in my guys next week." Michael agreed. He wrote a check for $10,000 as a starting payment. He didn't ask for her license, after all, she felt like family. The next day, she arrived with 2 men and a pickup truck. They tore off part of the old roof and hammered for hours. The noise felt like progress. Michael smiled, finally, his dream home was becoming real. But that feeling didn't last long. By the 3rd week, work slowed. The 2 men never returned, and Carla kept giving excuses. "They had a family emergency," she'd say, "but I'll handle it myself." Days turned into weeks. Holes stayed open. Rain leaked through the tarps. Then came the first real shock. The materials she ordered never arrived, but the money was gone. When Michael asked for receipts, Carla grew defensive. "Are you accusing me of something? You don't know how contracting works." Michael hesitated. He didn't want conflict. But deep down, something felt off. He decided to check online for her license, and his heart sank. There was no record of Carla Mendez ever being a contractor. That's when he realized, he might have just paid thousands of dollars to a thief. Michael tried to stay calm. He called Carla, hoping there was some misunderstanding. She didn't answer. When she finally did, her tone had changed, sharper, colder. "Look, Mike," she said, "projects take time. If you don't trust me, maybe I should just stop altogether." "But I already paid you," Michael replied. "Where's the rest of my money going?" She hung up. For days, she dodged him. When she finally came by, she claimed she'd already used the funds to pay her workers and buy supplies. But Michael checked the local store, no purchases were ever made under her name. Frustrated, he demanded invoices. Carla rolled her eyes. "You're stressing me out. I'm on disability, I can't handle this pressure." That caught his attention. "Disability? You told me you run a business." She froze, realizing she'd said too much. Michael started documenting everything, texts, receipts, photos of unfinished work. Soon, neighbors began whispering. One even told him Carla had done the same thing to another homeowner 2 towns away. One evening, as Michael returned from work, he found his back door slightly open. Inside, his living room looked disturbed. A few tools were missing, along with a camera and his laptop. His stomach twisted. He called Carla, no answer. The next day, he filed a police report. The officer asked, "Do you think she did it?" Michael hesitated. "I don't want to accuse anyone, but yes. She had the keys." Weeks later, Carla appeared again, this time angry. "You changed the locks. That's illegal." "I was still living there," she shouted from the driveway. "Living here? You were supposed to be working. I had a right to stay, I was a tenant, she yelled, waving a paper that looked like a fake lease. It was chaos. Neighbors peeked through blinds as police arrived to calm things down. Michael couldn't believe it, she was flipping the story. That night, he sat at his kitchen table, reading the crumpled contract they'd both signed. It wasn't even a real contractor's agreement, just a handwritten promise. He realized the only way to get justice was through court. And that's exactly what he did. He filed a case against her for theft, fraud, and property damage. Carla responded by countersuing him, claiming he owed her money for unpaid rent and emotional stress. That's when the case caught the attention of the producers of Judge Judy. The day of the hearing felt surreal. Michael stood in the bright courtroom, facing the woman who had once promised to fix his home, now his biggest regret. Carla walked in with a stack of papers and an attitude. She smirked like she'd already won. Then, Judge Judy entered. The room fell silent. "Good morning," she said sharply. "Let's get to it." Michael explained how he'd met Carla, the payments he made, the work that was never finished, and the missing belongings. He handed over photos, receipts, and police reports. Judge Judy raised an eyebrow. "So you paid her $25,000 to fix your house, and she vanished with most of it?" "Yes, Your Honor." Carla interrupted, "That's not true. He asked me to stay in the house while I managed the crew. He kicked me out illegally." Judge Judy turned to her. "Do you have a contractor's license, Ms. Mendez?" "I don't need one, I was just helping a friend." Judge Judy leaned forward. "Helping a friend for $25,000. The courtroom chuckled. Carla crossed her arms, scowling. Michael stayed composed, explaining every detail. Judge Judy flipped through the papers, nodding. "You kept good records. Smart." Then she looked at Carla again. "Were you receiving disability payments while claiming to be a contractor?" Carla hesitated. "That's none of your business." "Oh, it's absolutely my business," Judge Judy snapped. "Because if you were being paid to work while collecting disability, that's fraud against the government." Carla's face went pale. Judge Judy continued, "And if you took this man's money under false pretenses, that's fraud against him, asterisk." The room buzzed with tension. Carla tried to argue, but her story kept shifting. She claimed she paid workers directly, then later said Michael did. She said she had receipts, but none matched the project. Judge Judy leaned back, unimpressed. "You've been hustling people a long time, haven't you?" Carla's voice cracked. "I was just trying to survive." "By stealing?" Judge Judy asked. "No. Not in my courtroom." As Judge Judy pressed on, the web of lies began to unravel. Michael produced a bank statement showing the exact payments. He even had texts from Carla confirming she'd received the money. Then came the turning point, the police report. It listed Carla as the primary suspect in the break-in. Officers had recovered Michael's camera from a pawn shop, sold under Carla's name. The courtroom gasped. Judge Judy slammed her pen on the desk. "You pawned his belongings and still want to be called a contractor. You're lucky he didn't press criminal charges." Carla stammered, "I was going through a hard time." "We all go through hard times," Judge Judy cut her off. "But decent people don't lie, steal, and pretend to be professionals." Carla's countersuit crumbled. She had no lease, no receipts, and no credibility. Michael stayed calm. "All I wanted was to fix my house, Your Honor. I didn't expect to lose my trust, or my savings." Judge Judy softened slightly. "Well, you got your education. And she's about to get hers." The audience chuckled quietly. Then Judge Judy addressed Carla one last time. "You are not a contractor. You are a con artist who preys on people's kindness. You owe this man every penny back, plus damages for his stolen property. Carla's eyes welled up. That's not fair. What's not fair, Judge Judy said firmly, is stealing from someone who believed in you. Judgment for the plaintiff, $25,000 plus $2,000 for stolen goods. The gavel struck. The case was over. Outside the courtroom, Michael took a deep breath. The air felt lighter. Reporters asked for comments, but he only said one thing. I didn't come here for revenge. I came for justice. Carla stormed past him, avoiding the cameras. For her, the verdict meant more than money, it meant exposure. The show's producers later confirmed that the case had been reported to disability fraud investigators. Weeks later, Michael received the restitution payment. It wasn't about the cash anymore, it was about closure. He finally hired a real, licensed contractor who finished the work properly. His old house finally had a solid roof, working plumbing, and, most importantly, peace inside its walls. In a quiet moment, standing on his porch, he looked up at the sunset and whispered, "Thank you, Judge Judy." The experience taught him the hardest truth: sometimes, scammers hide behind friendly faces. Trust should be earned, not handed out. In the end, justice wasn't just about money. It was about standing up, telling the truth, and refusing to be fooled again. And somewhere out there, maybe Carla Mendez finally realized. You can lie to people, but not to Judge Judy. Case closed.